Reduction prints take some practice and planning. You carve the block and print with a light colour first. You then carve more away from the block, lay the paper down in the same position and print with a darker colour. The darker colour covers part of the lighter coloured print. Further complicating things is the fact there are no do-overs. Once you have done the second carving of the block, the first carving is gone for good. To avoid disappointment, just make more prints than you need so each print isn't as precious. First, sketch your design on paper. Pay close attention to the different colour layers in your design. This will help you to plan the sequence of your carving and printing. Once your print is ready, transfer it onto the linoleum block. You can do this by rubbing the back of your drawing with graphite and then tracing over it on the lino or using transfer paper. Since this is a reduction print, I started with the lightest colour first. This colour was yellow. I carved away the areas that remained white. The first carving will leave the areas you want to print in your first colour untouched. Carve along the edges of the design, focusing on the side of the tool that is against the edges. It's always easiest to do the edges first and then clear away the bits next to them. I am being careful to carve away from my other hand so I don't accidentally cut my fingers. To clear out larger areas, I'm using a larger tool. You don't need to make the deepest of cuts because the brayer will only ink the top surface of the linoleum that I have left uncarved. For the first layer, I will essentially be carving around the drink carton shape. Set up your printing area in an organised way and try to keep the ink in one place. Spread the ink to the width of your ink roller. This is your ink reservoir for dipping the roller into when you need more ink. Dip the roller into the ink reservoir and start rolling it out in the space below. Move the ink roller backwards and forwards with slight downward pressure. If there is too much ink on the roller, it will take on an orange peel texture. If this is the case, remove excess ink from the slab and roll it out again. Once you have an even layer of ink on the roller, roll it onto your block and transfer the ink. Try to roll in straight lines, covering the whole surface evenly. Roll in different directions to reach all the corners and edges. Recharge the roller with more ink as needed. The first time you ink a block, you can see if you've missed any areas, but after that, the block will be stained and it's harder to see. Check the ink coverage by looking at the surface in the light. It should be shiny all over. Wipe away any stray ink from the non-printing areas of the block with a dry piece of material. It will look worse after you've wiped it, but don't worry, it should stop the ink from transferring to the paper when you print. Hold a sheet of paper with your right hand and align the left-hand corner with the left-hand corner space on your carved away lino. Fix it into place with one piece of masking tape. Hold the paper with one hand and rub over the back of the block with your brayer. You will need to press quite hard to transfer the ink. Check your progress by lifting the paper. Go over any areas you have missed. Next, I printed the orange layer. To keep the areas I printed yellow from being printed oranged, I carved out the areas I wanted to remain orange. Next, I printed the orange layer. Next, I printed the red layer. To keep the areas I printed orange from being printed red, I carved out the areas that I wanted to remain orange. Next, I printed the green layer. To keep the areas I printed red from being printed green, I carved out the areas I wanted to remain red. Next, I printed the black layer. To keep the areas I printed green from being printed black, I carved out the areas I wanted to remain green.